We are entering a new world and everything is changing. The way the businesses are created, the way the teams are built, and the way the profits are protected and scaled over time. In the last few months, companies like Oracle have let go of about 20% of their employees. Meta, over 15% of their employees. Big companies like Microsoft, they're starting letting people go. And the truth is that things are done differently nowadays. So the way that entrepreneurs are quietly getting ahead of their competition and growing their businesses with only a few team members is evolving right now.
There's a group of business owners that you guys don't even know that are taking advantage of this right now, and they're profiting $30, $50, and even $100,000 per month.
And now guys, this is without bringing expensive American employees or bloating their payroll with hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, or even having to have a lot of people because of what's happening right now. And most importantly, without sacrificing speed, quality, and your output. And the truth is that you can figure this out without investing years and months of knowledge and thousands of dollars to actually do it.
And all of this is possible with the new AI hiring gold rush, which we're gonna talk about in this video.
So if you click in this video, it's because you probably want to keep more profits for your bottom line and you're tired of working way too hard, having way too many people, and at the end of the day, you don't take anything for yourself. So pay attention because I'm gonna teach you how to take advantage of this massive shift that is going to help you grow your business, keep more profits, stay very lean, being able to grow your business the way that you ever wanted, and work with incredible people around the world. And this to generate you results like this, like this, like this, and like this of companies that are making a lot of profit per month in just a matter of weeks after implementing this system. Now, I like to be 100% transparent with you. Just because we get these type of results and our clients are getting these type of results, like hiring over 25 people overseas and being able to scale their company to $2.5 million a year, doesn't mean that you will. Actually, it's very hard to win in this business, but the ones that they do it well, integrate the right systems and the right people, will actually win. And the ones that take advantage of this new AI hiring gold rush will actually win. So my reputation and Omir's reputation is very important for us. So we're not gonna promise you anything that you cannot achieve. So pay attention very well, because if you follow everything step by step of what we're going to teach you today, you will be able to be top 1% of people that are not doing this.
And just like Austin Hauser from Base Code Marketing, who went from hiring people locally and in the Philippines to now being able to hire A players from Latin America and scaling to over $300,000 per month. Or Bad Marketing with Eddie Malouf, who's hired over 10 people from us, all different positions, while they also have their recruiting company. While they have people coming from Lebanon, they're using Remote Latinos for all sorts of talent, whether it's graphic designers, video editors, and marketing specialists. And now we're doing over $20 million per year. Or Drip Jobs with Tanner Mullen, who has sent us numerous painters while also hiring over 15 people himself for his company to be able to finally grow and scale to over 1,200 active painters for his CRM.
Isn't he like the biggest painter CRM in the world?
He is the biggest painting CRM in the world.
It's kind of crazy. And in case you haven't met us yet, my name is Esteban Andrade. This is Omir Blog. We're the co-founders of Remote Latinos, which is one of the biggest hiring recruiting companies for Latin American talent in the small business owner, medium business owner space that helps you connect with high quality talent from Latin America. We've placed over 2,500 people in the last 3.5 years from all different countries: Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, you name it, we've done it. And our mission is to help over 10,000 people get a remote, high quality jobs while still working with businesses and helping them scale with high profit margins. And now, since the times have changed, we're going to teach you how we are integrating AI during our hiring process and how you can actually scale your business as well to multiple 7 figures. So if you stick to this video, we're going to teach you everything step by step on how to get to that point.
There are 3 reasons why this model works so well right now. First is that this is beginner friendly. That means that you do not have to have a massive team or a massive recruiting or HR department to make this work. If you already have a business that's generating revenue, then this is for you. The second is that it taps into an exploding global talent market pool. This means that today there are more people in the world that are culturally aligned and speak perfect English. The question is, why are they not working for you? Or if they are, how can you get more of them so you can finally grow and scale? The third is that it gives you an unfair advantage over what I call the AI hiring gold rush. Because it's not just about hiring overseas talent anymore. It's about combining the overseas talent with AI to be able to grow and scale profitably while also not having to have a bloated team that lingers over and over and over again. A team of 5 now works like a team of 15 at a fraction of the cost.
But before we show you exactly how this works, I need to show you why most business owners keep losing money when they hire, and why the options that they have tried before, they haven't worked. There are 6 metrics that we use to evaluate whether we hire someone or not. Number 1 is cost per month, what you actually pay. Number 2 is output quality, how good the work actually is. Number 3 is the speed to productivity, how fast are they delivering you the results. Number 4 is cultural alignment. How well do they understand your market and your clients? Number 5, how long they actually stay in your company and become loyal. And number 6 is scalability. Can you add more of these people without actually killing your margins? Let me run every single hiring option that you have right now through this matrix. And we're gonna be honest, even brutally honest, about each one of the options that you would have. Because the truth is that every option has its pros and its cons. And most business owners pick the wrong one, not because they're stupid, but because nobody has laid it out so well in detail about each one of them.
Let's talk about Americans, the quote unquote gold standards for employees. Let's be real, guys. Americans, of course, can be amazing. You can't find that CMO, that CTO, maybe even that closer. That's amazing for sure. But the reality is most Americans are lazy, they're entitled, and the worst part is that they want so much for so little. They also can't wait for you to slip up for whatever reasons. Wink, wink, we already know what it is. Maybe it's a lawsuit, or maybe it's, I'm not even gonna get into it. What I will tell you is this: Americans are hard workers, but compared to what? And compared to who? Because I've worked with Americans, Esteban's worked with Americans, and the reality is there's a reason why companies like Apple, Tesla, Amazon are hiring from all over the world. We're talking about companies that are setting their headquarters in Colombia, in India, in the Philippines, wherever it may be, because they're noticing a pattern that's consistent with Americans. They want $5,000 to $10,000 a month as a salary when they're just starting out and they're just graduating college with zero experience. They want health benefits, dental benefits, insurance, all that stuff up front, not even earned. Now, again, are there people that can be amazing? For sure. There's people out there that you would hire that can make a difference in your business.
And if you're paying for a good one, you must be willing to pay up to $7,000 to $10,000 a month.
Easily.
If you really want a good one, I live in a city like Miami. You cannot find a great executive's assistant for less than $80,000 a year.
The amount of people that we know in Miami that have complained to us about 2 things. 1, not being able to find local talent. And 2, the local talent that they do have is lazy, complacent, doesn't show up, and is running their own freaking business within the business is unbelievable. Okay, and this is just in Miami. This is also happening in Texas, in California, all over. The job market today is weird because most people can't find a good job because they expect so much, and companies are not willing to pay or willing to find the talent that's actually needed for their company with the current budget they have.
And how many American closers that you have actually hired? Then they stay 6 to 12 months in your company, they copy paste your product and start the same business. And you have had to pay them a base salary of $2,500 to $3,000, $5,000 a month, plus commissions and bonuses. And this just to get started. So your margins are super thin. The math is not mathing. The math is really hard here. And with the lack of talent that really wanna work hard, even though you are going to incentivize these people well, the businesses are going crazy. This is why companies like Snapchat, Oracle, Microsoft, Meta are laying off almost 20% of their employees. Now remember, most of this came from Omir's blog. He's fully American, I'm Canadian, Colombian, but he 100% knows what we're talking about because he's lived here for longer than I have. He's more American than me, and he can tell you exactly what I also have experienced while working in Chrysler for about 3.5 years, working directly in the corporate engineering department, working with other Americans. And then after that, I've been working with other Americans by hiring my own people in my marketing agency or our recruitment company.
Now let's talk about Filipinos. When you hear the word virtual assistant or VA, most people, including us at one point, thought Filipinos. And guys, Filipinos are amazing. They're great people. They're so kind, so loyal. And again, very hardworking. However, we're talking about a country that is in another world to get to. I mean, we're talking about a 12-hour time difference. We're talking about 100 million people that are operating this way. Now, are some of them built to work late night shifts? Sure. But at some point, if you have a Filipino working for you and they're working for you late night shifts, it is truly unhealthy. And one of the things that we've heard for years, and we've experienced this ourselves, is the time difference, not being able to get a hold of your Filipinos, maybe needing them at different times during the day, or sometimes we need them in the weekend. Sometimes we need them late nights and they're not there because guess what? Over there, it's a clock in, clock out mentality because they're working from their time zone. Another thing is they're English. Now, some Filipinos speak so perfect English, better than mine and Esteban's. But those some, we're talking about a very, very small fraction of those people. A lot of the Filipinos, unfortunately, have an accent. And that accent is not familiar with North American businesses. When we hear that accent, we're like, this sounds like I'm about to get scammed, right? This is not a common accent. I'm here in Miami right now with Esteban. I live in Atlanta. I was in Colorado. I lived in San Diego. There are not that many Filipinos in the US. That's the reality. There's just not that many. So when we hear a Filipino accent, it kind of throws us off. And one of the things that we've heard so many times is the clients that have hired Filipinos, they complain that those Filipinos get hung up on more than anyone else. And in their mindset, the solution is, hey, let me hire someone locally rather than continuing hiring in the Philippines.
Filipinos are incredible people, one of the nicest, kindest people that you would ever meet. In fact, there's schools there that actually teach you about remote work. This is unheard of in the world. Nobody teaches you to be a virtual assistant, to go to school to do that. So in a sense, it's good for certain roles. These people are incredible at doing back-end office type of roles, things that they don't need to actually show up in front of a client or have a great conversation, long-lasting conversation, or call someone out, challenge someone in a belief, whether that's a sales conversation, a client conversation. And you can find people that are really, really good also at design and video marketing. But the truth is that, just like Omir said, these people may be coming to work at night. We had a story of a Filipina that she run into a car accident after work just because she was super tired, right? So the 12 to 15 hour difference is a lot in terms of their health and what they're able to accomplish while working at night.
One thing about the Filipinos is if you're just starting out your business, you can find someone at a pretty cheap rate, maybe $2 or even $3, up to even $4 an hour. And don't get me wrong, that's a decent pay for some people in the Philippines. However, you get what you pay for. So if you're hiring someone at full time and they're making $600, $700 a month, and here comes another company that hires the exact same rules and they're paying $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So not a massive difference, but a difference. Guess what happens? Their quality is going to go up. Their advertising is going to be better. Their sales are going to be better. They're just going to be better than you. So if you're okay with paying $2 or $3 an hour, go for it. And you can find it there. However, you're going to get what you pay for.
But if you want someone that can architect and strategize, they don't teach it to be that way. Whether you can find it, yes, but there is 120 million plus Filipinos in that island. So the odds of actually finding really good Filipinos, it means that you got to go through hundreds of thousands of applications to find that gold standard.
The next one that's very popular is Egyptians. And guys, we've hired tons of Egyptians. We actually currently have Egyptians. They're some of my favorite people in the world because one, again, they're very kind, very smart, very hardworking, and again, very loyal. There's a lot of similarities we've noticed between Filipinos and Egyptians, right? Now, what are some cons? Well, guess what? Egypt is in the Middle East, which means there's about an 8 to 10 hour, depending on where you are in the US, an 8 to 10 hour time difference. So while you're starting to work, it's already 6 p.m. over there. So they have to get used to that time zone. And a lot of them struggle with it. Number two, the ones who don't speak really good English and don't have no accent have a very strong Egyptian accent to the point where if they're calling your leads are probably going to complain to you. They're going to hang up or they're just not going to take them serious because it's a very, very strong Egyptian accent. And by the way, guys, this has not anything to do with Egypt. I'm Israeli myself. If someone from Israel calls and has a very strong accent, they're hanging up immediately. Okay, these are accents. It doesn't matter where you're from. And the last thing about Egyptians we've noticed is Egyptians are really, really good when it comes to client-facing roles. But maybe some more of the back-end roles or operational roles, I would prefer if I was to hire between the Egyptians or the Filipinos, you might want to go with a Filipino. If you are looking for appointment setters, maybe even cold callers, Egyptians can be pretty good. However, if you're looking to hire, appointment setters or cold callers, you can go the Egyptian route, but we have something that might be a little bit better.
And listen, Egyptians are sharp. Actually, they're very, very like, if you go to a country where you're going to be sold everything. In fact, they're aggressive. So it means that it could be really good for sales roles, getting a call with someone and pushing. But pushing to the point of what? Challenging the person to the point of what? Losing the sale. One thing that we have noticed with Egyptians is that they're very hard-headed because they will find a way in their drivers in a way. Because if you go to Egypt, you're going to notice, whatever city in Egypt, they're going to want you to sell purses to you. They want to sell bracelets. They want to sell jewelry. They want to sell souvenirs. They know that lots of Americans come for tourism. So they have this sales-driven mindset, which is a good thing, right? Now, in order to find those people, you can, and we've placed many Egyptians. As a matter of fact, part of our team is actually Egyptian right now. The cost is fair to what you're actually getting. So you can get good Egyptians, and Egypt is actually one of the poorest countries that I've actually known in the Middle East and in Africa. You can find Egyptians for $800 all the way to $1,500 a month that can do a lot of your sales roles or marketing and sales roles at the end of the day, doing a fair job.
And one quick story, guys. I actually visited Egypt about 3.5 years ago, and it was one of my favorite trips I've ever done. Here's the truth. What Esteban said is so true, because when I went to visit the pyramids, which I was there for 2 full days, the amount of times that I got bombarded with them selling me stuff, it was unbelievable. I walked in without anything. I walked out minus $500, right? Like, it was unbelievable. They kept pushing it in my face. And again, there are good things that happen with this when it comes to client-facing roles and sales roles. But do you really want every single sales call to be so pushy to the point where people either buy or they hate you? Seems a little bit tacky. Next are Indians and Pakistanis. And guys, so many people have hired in India and Pakistan and have had amazing results, specifically hiring developers, designers, software engineers, automation specialists, go high-level specialists, and many other positions like that. Now, we all probably know the bad part of hiring people from India and Pakistan. They struggle pretty hardcore with English. It's very hard for them to comprehend English at a high level and to be able to speak it. Now again, some of them are incredible and they can speak it almost with no accent. You definitely, in my opinion, in most of the world's opinion, especially in the US, don't want to hire them for any client-facing roles. Immediately your company is going to look not serious or very cheap, because talent in India and Pakistan is probably the cheapest talent you can get. You can probably hire people there for 50 cents up to $2 an hour. Does that mean they're going to be good? Probably not, right? Where developers can go for maybe 1 to 2K. Very, very good pricing compared to the developers that we've hired. The quality, I mean, that depends. But the biggest thing that you guys just want to remember is what positions are you hiring people in India and Pakistan for? Because if they're client-facing roles, you better pray.
Yeah. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. One of our first ever clients is Go High Level. They actually hired the first Latino for us. His name is David, has been in the company for more than 6 years. But most of their team actually is from India. Why is that? Because India has one of the biggest pools of problem solvers and technical experts that they're so meticulous whenever they come to a problem, technical problem, that they'll figure it out. But here's the problem. These people also sleep and eat and live in a country that is 10 to 15 hours away from us, right? So that means that if you want something done, you need to do it during the day because it's actually very hard for them to work during the day for you. They're not as used to as Filipinos to working at night. They'll tell you, no, I'll get it done in my time. And if you want them to work at the same time as you, that's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, we have a friend of ours, his name is Nick Perry. He actually traveled to Pakistan to get things done because in Pakistan, same thing, 12 to 15 hour time zone change. He had to get things done.
So he literally flew there.
Yeah. Pakistanis are not going to tell, they're not going to tell you, oh yeah, I'm going to work at night all the way to like 5 a.m. Like Filipinos. They're not as nice and, oblivious as Filipinos, you know what I mean? And listen, you can find people for $800 to $2,000 a month for back-end technical roles, and you can do that all the time. But just be wary of the language barrier that you will have. It's very hard for me to, it was very hard for me to understand and comprehend them. Actually, I got used to because I worked in Fiat Chrysler Automotive, and all of our designers, developers, technical experts, all these people, they were Indians. So I understood if you know what I mean. But most people would not.
And guys, I just want to make a disclaimer that none of this is meant to offend anybody. Neither of us are racist. We're just being completely real. We've had experience hiring all these people. We've traveled to these countries. I'm actually going to the Philippines next year. So like, these are people in countries that we absolutely love, but business is business, and there are certain things and certain people that you need for your business. Next one is South Africans. And guys, let's be honest, South Africans, they speak perfect English. Literally, they were an English colonized country at one point, right? So they speak perfect English. When it comes to English, you do not need to worry about that. They're very underutilized, and a lot of our clients, including actually ourselves, we've hired in South Africa. Now, what is the biggest con with South Africans? Well, the time zone. Again, it's a 6 to 7 hour time zone. So that means when you start at 9 a.m., it's already 2 to 3 p.m. their time. Not that big of a difference. But when you need someone at 4 or 5 p.m., are they going to be available? If you need someone on the weekends, are they going to be available? Probably not. And that's something that you want to consider, especially as a startup, when you need people to show up a little bit later and spend more time with you.
Now, there's some limitations to South Africa. While they have really relatively high quality talent, the country is not that big. It's a small still. So in order for you to find that right person, you're not going to have a lot of options compared to Southeast Asia or South America and so on. And something that happened to me is that they are still a country that have some third world problems, such as they lose power in the middle of the day, out of nowhere. They go into
Without warnings,
they go into this load shedding hours of power loss. And I'll tell you a story that happened to me. I hired approximately 5 South Africans, all great. And by the way, they're a little bit more expensive than Philippines. They're more expensive than maybe Egyptians and so on. But they're great people. But in the middle of the day, I will lose them for hours, and they had to get power in order to power up their Wi-Fi, if they could power up their Wi-Fi and power up their computer. So in meetings, we had this time this really, really good guy. His name is Athi. And so Athi is black, right? And we would be in a Zoom call. And all of a sudden, we're in a Zoom call as a team, having fun or talking about important topics. And then just boom, lights are off. And the only thing that is there is his big smile. So everyone would laugh. It will be a joke in the team that if you see Athi's smile in the dark, it's because the power went out. So that was a really running joke when we had Athi. And unfortunately, it got so bad back in 2023 that we had to part ways. But I heard that, that has been gotten better. Just be aware of hiring South Africans. You'll find people for $1,200 to $2,000 a month. that are good work in marketing roles, sales roles, different things. It's a hidden gem. I also want to go to South Africa on a safari.
Now let's talk about Latin America, my home, where I've spent the last 5.5 years of my life. Most of my 20s I actually spent in Latin America. The idea of building what we have now, how we've been able to hire over 2,500 people, work with thousands of businesses, started in Medellin, Colombia.
And this is where one of the biggest hiring opportunities that we started a few years ago when I told Amir, why are you hiring Filipinos? Like everyone was doing that. I'm Colombian. Let me send you this job board in LinkedIn and just find someone in Colombia. Maybe it can work in Mexico too, whatever, So after we entered this, we realized that this is bigger than us. Why? Because in Latin America, there's over 700 million people, counting all the Latin American countries that speak English, Spanish, bilingual, whatever, Spanglish. And that means that there is over 20 countries that you can actually choose from. Each one, they have their own culture, their own work ethic, their own time zone, similar to the US, their own strengths, and yes, honestly, their own limitations. And we're gonna talk about that right now. So now let's break it down country by country.
Wait.
Mexico. This is the closest country in Latin America to the US. And if you didn't know, Mexico is actually located in North America, not in Central America, not in South America, like a lot of people actually think. The reason why is because about 60% of Americans don't have passports. So right now I'm gonna give you a passport and we're gonna go over all these countries. So what is this stereotype of Mexicans? When you go to the US or you're in the US, you're American, the stereotype is that Mexicans work ultra hard. But the problem is that stereotype is really for handyman jobs. So whether that's construction, roofing, doing hard labor stuff, that is the actual stereotype, right? And it's true. You will never see a white American wanting by himself do something that Mexicans do because it's hard. Because it takes a lot of labor, it takes a lot of hours, a lot of sweat. The truth is that Americans maybe are capable of doing other roles because of education and so on, but Mexicans come to this country and they don't have what Americans have. So they don't have the diplomas, they don't have the connections, they don't have the language. That is in the US. But when you go and take a plane to Mexico, you'll notice that they have the exact same work ethic and the exact same mentality, but now they're doing it at a professional level. They're working at home in a virtual office, co-working space. In fact, there's billion-dollar Mexican companies out there that are already doing better than a lot of Americans. Mexicans were known for working with the US on automotive and assembly and manufacturing. As a matter of fact, in Monterrey has the biggest plants for trucks and vehicles that are designed in the US, but they're built in Mexico. Elon Musk is investing hundreds of millions of dollars and billions on assembly plants that are going to happen in Mexico because they're capable of doing that and even more. So if you ever question whether a Mexican can actually do a marketing role or a sales role or a back office operation manager role or whatever you want. In fact, we actually had an amazing Mexican operations manager that's not with us anymore, but she's from Mexico City and she was an amazing operations manager. And some people think you can't find executive roles, leader roles, manager roles, even CMO, CEO type of roles in Mexico. But the truth is that you can. I want you to travel. I want you to take your passport and actually go to Mexico and see it for yourself. Now, the biggest limitation I say is that not all Mexicans speak perfect English. The truth is that most Latin American countries, they don't have English as a second language. It's an optional language. So that means that if you went to school or if you learned it at school or in a private academy, it's because you go out of your own way and decide to actually pursue learning the language. It's not like Philippines, whose English is a second language. You will have a hard time finding English, like very, very fluent English speakers in Mexico if you don't know what you're doing. So not everyone is proficient. Not everyone have the best English and accent and pronunciation and so on. you have to have a very, very specific hiring targeting process. So in this case, vetting and qualifying matters a lot. The good thing is that the cost could go from $800 to $1,800 per month on marketing, sales roles, back office, executive assistant roles, and so on. If you want to go for more managerial leader roles, well, you got to put in more budget, but it's very accessible and it's in the same time zone. So just think about it. Mexico is right underneath US. So they have the same exact time zone as Florida, as Arizona, as the US. You know, PST, MST, EST, CST, you name it. And what's the other benefit of it? Oh yeah, how many states in the US are actually Mexicanos? How many?
12.
There's about 12 states in the US where it used to be part of Mexico before, which means that if you are a business owner and you're in a state of like Texas or Arizona or Florida or California, Michigan, you name it, and there's a lot of Mexican homeowners or a lot of Mexican residents or a lot of Mexican businesses, or not Mexican, just Hispanic. They're already used to the culture and they're already used to the accent. So it's nothing new. In fact, they would embrace it because they'll think that someone else is actually calling from Arizona. If you go to Texas, the Texas accent is no different than a Mexican accent whenever they speak it properly.
Colombians, my home for the last 5.5 years. We've actually hired more Colombians than any other country in Latin America. Most of my team is Colombian, whether they're in Bogota, whether they're in Medellin, or wherever they are. Colombians are not only incredible on client-facing roles like sales, appointment setting, lead management, disposition, but they're also really good on the back end. We actually have developers that are Colombians. Our GHL and automation specialists have been Colombian. You can really find all sorts of talent in Colombia. Same time zone for a fraction of the cost. I'm talking about 1 to 2K per month for almost all positions, okay? Many Colombians that we hire have gone to private schools, have gone to university, speak really good English, actually are infatuated with American culture because so many Americans travel to Colombia. So many Colombians come to Miami. You can actually live in Miami and basically speak Spanish because of the Cuban and Colombians that are coming here all the time. So we have had incredible luck, right? Are Colombians perfect? No, there's more holidays than you can ever imagine. Obviously, there's some Colombians that are, they're currently living in harsher territories and, maybe internet is not the best, but those are not the people that we are currently attracting. We're looking for people that have university experience, that speak English, they're true professionals, that have working experience for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they're coming in a budget that can work for your business today.
If you think of Colombians, who do you think right now? Shakira, Sofia Vergara, I don't know if you know J Balvin, but those are the top talented people that you know right now, at least in the music stage. And just think about it, they would be like them. And one of the biggest advantages of you going to Colombia is they're so culturally aligned to the US and their time zones are almost exactly the same. But we really understand negotiation. We really understand the sales-driven work ethic of the US because we're born that way. We're born negotiators, we're born hustlers, and it's good for sales and front-end roles. As a matter of fact, I'm Colombian, just like Amir said, and I was able to learn and grow very quickly in Canada and the US because we already had that affinity. So if you ever thought that Colombia is just Pablo Escobar, cocaine, and drugs, you're wrong, my friend. We are more than just that. We're a exploding global talent that these people are going to be super loyal to you and they're going to stay in your company for years because they really want to prove themselves. They want to prove that we're not just that Pablo Escobar era that Netflix showed you.
Next up is Venezuela, which is the neighboring country to Colombia. And there are so many similarities between Venezuelans and Colombians that it took me years to know the real difference. Now, guys, we have hired tons of Venezuelans for the same thing, front-end and back-end roles. We currently have developers in Venezuela. We have found some of the best and most talented people in Venezuela. During the Maduro era. We're not hiring Venezuelans. We're not just hiring Venezuelans right now after the craziness that happened in January. We've been hiring Venezuelans for years, and we've had amazing experience. Really, the one quote unquote such a bad thing about Venezuelans is being able to pay them, because unfortunately not all payment processors accept them. So there are some things that you have to do around that. But besides that, the talent is impeccable. They speak great English. They are also very aware of American culture. So many of them have traveled to the US. Many of them actually reside in other countries. They live in Colombia. They live in Mexico. So they understand what it is that needs to be done in order to work a remote job, be able to earn $1,000 to $2,000 per month, if not more. Again, whether it's client-facing roles, back-end roles, time zone similar, cultural similarity.
And did you know that because Venezuela was one of the top countries in Latin America, at some point their economy was so good, so it was a very rich country, but then they went through the economic crisis with Chavez and Maduro taking over the government. Well, these people learned to grow in the hustle, in the grind. Why? Because they've actually seen hardship. They've actually had to become more resourceful. They had to go out of their way to find ways to succeed in the US. So some of them, they moved to the US and they live here in Florida. Some of them, they already had a lot of money and they were able to move to another country. So you'll find people, again, that want to be given an opportunity. As a matter of fact, one of our best team members and actually part owner of our marketplace, Remote Latinos, she's from Venezuela and we've traveled with her, we bring her here. She's an amazing individual. We could not be more grateful for her, because she's actually changed the game for us by building one of the best marketplace of Latin American talented people that you can use right now with over 20,000 candidates already vetted in that marketplace. So if you want to know more about that, actually you can find Venezuelans in hireremotelatinos.com and go to the marketplace.
Shout out to Mar.
Now, the real challenges come with infrastructure. Venezuela is still a third world country. They were hit by an economic crisis that was real. It was a real thing that didn't allow them to have good internet, good power, or things like that. So some of these people that live outside of the main cities will not have internet or good power for days or for hours. And this is not really the best environment that you want them to work on. You want them to have more stability, more structure, and you want them to be living and working in places where the internet doesn't go out or the power doesn't go out, which still happens. So whenever you're hiring people like that, just make sure that they have the right machine, the right laptop, the right computer, the right power setup, and the right Wi-Fi and wireless connectivity. Because otherwise, you're not having this type of pains. But a good Venezuelan can go from $600 to $1,500 a month. And depending on what roles you want to hire them, you can pay them more. But we've hired front-end marketers and salespeople. We've hired back-end people. We've hired developers and tech-driven individuals. So those can go all the way to 2 to 2.5K a month, depending on what you're actually hiring. But they're very well educated, high level of university education, very well kept. They actually do speak English really well as well. And I'm surprised that a lot of Venezuelans actually do. Why do you think so? It's because maybe they traveled to the US a long time, you know?
Or they moved to Colombia and there's so many people in Colombia that speak English. And also the education in Venezuela is very high. It's very good.
Correct.
The private education especially. So they get it. Next up is Argentina. Guys, I've actually spent almost 6 months in Argentina in 2026. Buenos Aires literally feels like Europe. There's such amazing infrastructure there. I really did not feel like I was in Latin America at all. It is vastly different than Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, and so many other countries. One of the things about Argentina that makes it very, very unique is that there's a huge European influence there. So a lot of people are already born speaking other languages outside of Spanish. Many Argentinians speak German and they speak Dutch and many other languages, even Italian. So that's just a little bit of background. But one of the cool things about Argentinians that I experienced myself is that the amount of people that speak English there, blew my mind. It's actually so funny. I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, and I was telling him how Argentinians think they don't speak English, and then you speak with them and you're like, oh, you speak pretty good English. While if you go to Colombia or Venezuela or Mexico and they say they don't speak English, they literally do not speak English. So the bottom barrel English in Argentina is almost fluent, while the fluent English is literally feels like you're talking to an American person with a slight accent. They are so good at client-facing roles, at back-end roles, at operational roles, executive roles. I mean, they are very, very, very smart. You can literally hire high-level executives in Argentina today. And here's the best part, they don't expect a US salary. You can pay them anywhere from $1,500 up to even $2,500 per month for a very, very high level role. They can come into your company and actually help you build certain things. They can track your finances. I mean, I'm talking about building a executive team just in Argentina, not even including all the other roles that you can hire, like closers, like client success, like automation specialists, GHL specialists, whatever the case may be. One thing to note for in Argentina is that the time zone is literally the same. It's actually a 1 hour difference. It's a 1 hour ahead of EST. And during daylight savings time, it's 2 hours ahead. This means they live in the best time zone possible. It's actually what I experienced. I was 2 hours ahead of EST every single day, which means that in the morning I can go to the gym, play paddle, and then my workday starts, and then I'm clocking out at 7, 8. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit late, but let's be honest, it's a massive difference compared to Egypt, South Africa, Philippines, and other countries.
All right, it's my time to talk shit. All right, look, Argentinians are well known in Latin America as they think that they're the shit. And here's the thing, Argentinians are confident by nature. They're actually born confident and they think that Argentina is the best country in Latin America. And the truth is that it is one of the most well-kept countries in the European grab that happened hundreds of years ago, because you go to Argentina and you think that it's like a mini Europe. But Europeans don't think that. But Argentinians do think that they have the better Spanish, the better culture, and the better country. And this comes from innate confidence. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. This is a bad thing if it becomes arrogance. So Argentinians will actually push back on things that they don't believe are right, or processes that they believe need to be done differently. So they're not just gonna, like Filipinos, for example, say like, yes, 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 man. No, Argentinians are confidently gonna tell you things straight up how they think they are, because that's how they are. And Argentinians are known in Latin America as this country that has the best soccer, well, the best football, one of the best steak, and really, really good looking people. So if you want to have like a Messi in your team, or like the Argentinian team that has won all the World Cups, you might as well start hiring people from Argentina. Now let's jump into Brazil. Brazil is one of the largest, actually the largest country in Latin America. And some of these people actually are, funnily enough, not considered Latinos. They're Brazilians. They speak Portuguese. So you're going to find a lot of talented individuals that speak Portuguese or Portuñol, which is Portuguese and Espanol. And they are very high quality individuals. Now, because there are so many, it also takes a long time vetting and qualifying to actually find the right individuals. You got cities like Sao Paulo, who is one of the biggest cities in the world. About over 25 million people in one city. How crazy is that? And you got Rio de Janeiro, that obviously is kind of like the Medellin of Brazil, that you got people that are used to tourism and so on, beach-like thing, and so on. But these people could be either very good or whatever, because it's hard to find people that actually speak English really, really well. We've had a lot of Brazilians come into our hiring process. I've hired Brazilian myself, and they are actually similar to Colombians in terms of how they behave and their thoughts, and sales-like negotiators, and how intelligent they actually are. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest companies in Latin America is actually Brazilian. I think it's from Nubank. If you heard of Nubank, that's a Brazilian bank. Which is a massive bank. So you'll find very intellectual people that are into tech, into marketing, into sales, leadership. You just got to be able to find those people well. You'll find people from $900 to $1,800 a month, and they'll be good with that. And finally, Central America and all these other countries in Latin. In fact, there's so many that we can't really name all of them right now because there's a lot of countries in Latin, but top countries in Central America are Nicaragua, Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala.
Costa Rica too.
These countries actually speak a very polished English.
Nicaragua too.
It's weird because they barely have an accent. They speak really well. Okay, they're in the same time zones as the U.S. and they probably have been in the U.S. a lot of times, right? I mean, they're closer to Mexico as well in Central America. So you'll be able to find people that are cold callers, SDRs, appointment setters,
Closers,
CSMs. They speak really, really well. Now, because these countries are so small, it's also hard to find talent, and not all of these countries have a second language, English as a second language. So the ones that they do, it's because obviously they work hard. So the honest truth is that the talent is there, the hunger is there. They really want to, make US dollars because they're poor countries. So they want to work really hard for your company. You'll find people from $700 all the way to $1,500 a month for main roles. And then, you'll be able to find some manager roles for more amount. But what we find is that the sales front end roles are very, very strong in there, or marketers and things like that. Nicaragua is very well known for that as well.
100%.
The verdict. Look, guys, after running every single country through the matrix, we have come with a solution. And this solution is purely based on cultural alignment, cultural alignment, spoken English, experience, skill, time zone, and an overall fit for your business.
And the winner is Latin America.
Woo woo! Yahoo!
So look, after examining every single continent and country across the globe, Latin America wins on all the different countries inside. Not because the other ones suck or that there is incapable people, but because when you go to a business owner in the US and they need this front-facing or back-end facing roles and you want them to be a fit, and almost every single thing checks the box, well, Latin American is the way to go. And now, when you go and add AI on top of this, now this is not just a good hire with AI. This is a force multiplier. And this is what we're gonna call. So here's where it gets super powerful. The world has changed over the last few years. Back when ChatGPT started, people were going crazy. And now you can build AI assistants and AI employees under every single one of your team members. And imagine these people actually learn how to outsource to these AI employees. Imagine if 5 people on your team can actually act as 15 people. That is leverage. And that is going to allow you to make more money faster, because the execution doesn't become the problem. The execution is there. Anybody can now execute. And when you hire people, you train them, you hire them experienced with AI tools like plot coding or building AI agents. Now they can execute faster, which means that your output is higher. And what the difference maker is a strategy and being able to make better decisions. That's why Latin Americans are going to change the game for you when you use them properly with AI. Let's look at the math. So let's say, for example, you used to hire 5 people in the front end and back end roles to fulfill to clients and get to $50,000 a month. Well, now those 5 people can act as 15 people, and they can help you get to $100,000 a month, if not to $120,000, $150,000 a month, if you would do it well. Once you start building this AI assistants and AI employees under each one of the department, so sales department will have an AI coach, AI researcher, will have an AI chatbot or AI assistant that will chat with people, will send all the scripts and will help coach the person. Maybe AI marketers will help do all the ads, all the creatives, all the videos, all the copywriting. Maybe in the tech department, maybe in the client fulfillment. Every single department of your business can actually build an army of AI employees under your Remote Latino. So now your operations manager from Mexico can build SOPs faster, can actually tell you whenever we're low in profits, can actually tell you when a client has not actually been fulfilled or is not happy in a matter of seconds, can build dashboards and tools that the team actually needs in order for your team to keep succeeding. Just because they learned AI, they've experienced AI, and they become experts. They become architects. And this is not theory, this is actually real. We know many businesses that actually let go some of their employees, or some of those employees that they already have, like us, we're enabling them by building tools and helping them use Cloud Coach, helping use OpenClaw, helping them create different employees under them. So at the end, you get better people at a fraction of the cost with bigger results. So what you used to have a 5x in return, now you'll have a 10x in return of investment at a cheaper cost, still saving you 60 to 80% of your payroll. That is the AI hiring gold rush.
So let me tell you exactly how this works. I call it the 3-step system. Step 1, source. Step 2, amplify. Step 3, scale. When you execute the process correctly, you should be able to build a remote team that saves you $15,000 to $30,000 per month in payroll while delivering a better or equal output than your local team. Step 1, source. Identify exactly what you need, why you need it, and where to find it. This has to be detailed, guys. So many people think they need an executive assistant. In reality, they need a closer. Or they think they need a setter, and in reality, they need a client success manager. You need to know what is your talent going to do, what is their KPI, and how you're going to find them. And this is what the definition of sourcing looks like. For this, you need to know the outcome, the places to look, and be able to qualify and disqualify people who are not a fit. An outcome, for example, would be sales closed or revenue collected. For example, if you're hiring a closer, that closer needs to bring in $50,000 in cash collected per month. If you're bringing in a client success manager, that client success manager needs to manage 20 to 30 accounts and make sure you have an 80 to 90% retention rate. Now, where you find them is many different sources. We love to use Facebook groups, Facebook ads, and LinkedIn. And lastly, qualifying them. Obviously, apart from the resume, the video introduction, and their overall profile that you see on any of these platforms, you want to make sure that they're completing a skill test and a personality test. The skill test has to do with what is going to be their day-to-day within your company. What does that look like? Look in the last 30 days, add that into ChatGPT and literally create a skill test that has to do with their job. A personality test that we use a few, but the one that we love the most is the DISC assessment. What type of personality are you looking for within this position? And does this person match that personality? Here's the thing, guys. Most people won't even send you the resume. The ones that do won't even complete the skill test. And the ones that do, you're gonna wanna schedule an interview if they do it correctly and they complete it on time. I mentioned that you wanna have a video, and some people don't even know what that is, but we have something what we call the video introduction. We ask them between 5 to 10 questions to answer, which is usually a little bit basic, and we throw in a few curveball questions for us to first see what they look like, what do they sound like, what is their vibe like, and then they actually answer the questions that we have. This gives us an ability to see if this person is actually a good fit. One thing to note for guys is that this is judged differently on different roles. So for example, if we're hiring client-facing roles, the video matters a lot because our clients are going to be facing our team. But if this is like a video editor, a go high level specialist, or other roles that are not client facing, yes, the video is important, but it's not the most important thing. Obviously, I need to see what they look like, whether they're presentable and they get the stuff done. But what I care about more is their skill test and their personality test.
Now, after you've sourced the right person, the step 2 is to amplify. Once you have the right person, you gotta make sure that they're amplified, that they have the right skills, the right knowledge, and AI enablement. So for example, if you're hiring an appointment setter, you want to make sure that this appointment setter can use tools to send, for example, AI avatars to every client that comes in, or AI avatars to every lead that actually books an appointment, so that maybe it can show a video of the owner saying thank you for coming into the call. Or even setting up and working with AI chatbot so that hand on hand that they're able to schedule more appointments and actually respond to more leads as they come in. Or even being able to use the AI SDR to grab the research about every single lead when they're scheduled in their calendar and being able to give this to the closer in a silver platter. And you can do this with closer roles as well by introducing AI coach enablement. So that means that the closer is able to train with the AI agent, whether that's role playing or ultimately getting feedback immediately after the call or even during the call, because this AI coach is gonna making this closer better. At the same time, you can develop tools or gifts from AI enablement to the leads so that they actually remember you. As a matter of fact, we sometimes give lead magnets that are developed with Cloud Code and specifically look at case studies or testimonials by using AI research and telling them exactly what they want to hear for the right client, the right case study, and personalizing the messages. And if there is an objection that happens, they need to be able to use AI to handle that objection as well and get better over time. A medium buyer can, for example, create multiple images that are going to high perform if they actually use AI to use the right copywriting, the right image creation and frameworks that is going to allow them to create more pictures and more videos using AI. And this is without the use of a graphic designer or another video editor that may have to wait 24 to 72 hours to give you the results, but they can now do it themselves. Like look at Perplexity or Cloud Code that can actually give you a lot of things at the same time. As well, they can manage and report on any ad account or advertising channel because they're using the right coding language and the right use of AI to be able to optimize at the time and be proactive rather than being reactive. So if you enable people and teach them or have them learn AI, or they come in skilled with this, that's an amplification for your business. Or even a content creator. There's tons of content creator tools, but the best ones are, for example, Hicksfield or Hagen. Being able to use 11 Labs, being able to use this avatar creation tools, and with the right copywriting message, then it's going to help you create 2 to 5 times more output of content. So if you go to Omir Blog's page and Instagram and Facebook right now, a lot of his content right now is him, but it's not even him. It's content that has been created in the past. He just used the voice clone and his image clone and video clone to create new content. He hasn't done any short in like a lot of months. Okay? He hasn't put in effort. This is human. This is bare bones. This is actual human right here. We're actually putting in the effort for you guys. Step 3 is scaling, where the real profit compounds. So instead of removing everyone in your company and just firing everybody and replacing everybody with AI, there's 5 levers that you can actually pull to increase your profit. Number 1 is slash payroll without slashing output. So this is where you replace a $6,000 a month American employee with a $1,400 a month AI amplified professional from Colombia, and you just added $4,600 a month to your bottom line. So do that across 5 roles, and you've added $23,000 a month in pure profit without changing your revenue at all. Profit lever 2, increase the speed to lead. 78% of your deals go to the first person who responds. With an AI amplified appointment setter from Latin America responding to every lead within 60 seconds, 24 hours a day, you stop losing deals to competitors who are faster. Your conversion rate goes up and your revenue goes up. Your profit goes up. Profit lever 3, increase close rate through AI-powered sales coaching. Most businesses lose 20 to 40% of closable deals because their closers are not improving fast enough. With AI call analysis running on every conversation, with AI coaches, your closers get better every single week. A 10% improvement in close rate on $500,000 in annual revenue is $50,000 in additional profit. That is profit from the same leads, the same marketing spend, and the same team. Profit level 4, increase output without increasing the headcount. With AI amplifying every role, your existing team produces more. More leads followed up, more content published, more deals closed, more clients retained. You scale your output without scaling your payroll, and the difference goes straight to your bottom line. In profit level 5, build the recurring revenue streams. The businesses that hit $100,000 a month in profit and stay there will build the recurring revenue, retain their clients, coaching programs, property portfolios, creative financing deals, upsells, downsells, you name it, JVs, SaaS tools. With an AI amplified operational team from Latin America running your fulfillment, you can deliver a world-class experience to every client and create products and back-end offers, and keep them paying month after month. More money for you. So let me show you the math, because this is where it becomes undeniable. Let's say you're running a business generating $300,000 a month in revenue, right? Right now, your payroll is $80,000 a month for a team of 10 local employees. And your profit margins is 27%. You're keeping $81,000 a month. Now, you rebuild the team using the AI hiring gold rush, and you replace the 5 highest cost roles with AI amplified professionals from LATAM. An appointment setter from Colombia, $1,400 a month, and it was $5,500. A closer from Medellin, $1,800 a month, and it was $7,000 in the US. A media buyer from Bogota, $1,600 a month, and it was $6,500 in the US. A content creator in Buenos Aires, $1,200 a month, and it was $5,000 in the US. An operations manager in Mexico City at $1,500 or $2,000 a month, and it was $7,000 a month in the US. All costs for these 5 figures was $30,000 a month. The new cost for these five roles is $75,000 a month, and the monthly savings are $22,500. And because every single one of these roles are now AI amplified, your output goes up, not down. And your appointment setter follows up faster, your closer improves weekly, everything gets better, your revenue stays, and your profit goes up. You just crossed $100,000 a month in profit without changing your revenue at all. That's crazy. That is the AI hiring gold rush. Now, I know a lot of people, some of you are thinking, can Latin American professionals really do the same quality work as Americans? Yes, they can, and in many cases, better. Right, Amir?
Yes, sir.
I've hired over 1,500 people from Colombia, hundreds of Mexicans, hundreds of Venezuelans, Argentinians, Brazilians, Nicaraguans, Peruvians, and beyond. Some of the best performers on my team, people who have been with me for over 3 to 5 to 6 years, are from LATAM, and they're loyal. These are the people who went to university, who learned English on their own because they wanted to work for American companies, who show up every single day, hard working animals, hustlers, and their loyalty is genuinely rare. Well, what about time zone? All these share the same time zone, so don't even think about it. It's not even an excuse. What about the language and accent? Well, do you like my accent? If you do, please hire me. And if you don't, well, you can find people that speak better English than me. As a matter of fact, Amir makes fun of me because a lot of these hires that we have, they have better English than me, and they don't sound like...
And they've never been to America.
They've never been to America, which is crazy. And what if I hire the wrong person? Well, that's exactly why the vetting process actually exists. We disqualify 80 to 90% of applicants. We only present to you the top 10%, so about 3 to 4 people in total for you to actually interview after we've gone through hundreds of video interviews, resumes, disqualified people, personality assessments, you name it, we've done it, reference checks, and skill tests. Just so you can actually have these people in a silver platter. Plus, we back it up with the replacement guarantee. Here's the thing about gold rushes. They don't last forever. So if you don't wake up right now to this, there's a lot more people entering this market. There's a lot of more people waking up to the fact that Latinos and remote professionals and AI can actually combine and make a force multiplier. So most competitors have not even figured out this just yet, which is the best chance for you to get into this and capitalize on it greatly this year. But the window is closing. So every month that passes, every week that passes, every year that passes, you're just losing money. You're still paying Americans, you're still paying high amount for people that are not capable, they're not AI amplified, and your profits are getting lower and lower and lower. So the businesses that move right now and do it right now, an AI amplified team will actually 6x to 10x their business in the next 12 to 24 months. And they're gonna have a tremendous cost advantage over their competitors. So this is your moment, take advantage of it. Let me tell you how this works when we are gonna build this for you. When you come in and you click in the description below here and you click a link, it's going to take you to a form that is going to ask you for a few things about your business. What are your challenges, where you want to be, and what you want to hire. After that, we'll evaluate whether this is the right fit for you. And if it does, then we'll start running, give you 3 to 4 options that are already being qualified, already being vetted, of highly talented individuals from Latin America at the right cost, at the right cultural fit, at the right skills fit, and for the role that you want. And these people will come in AI amplified. So they already gone through our courses, they've already gone through the training, and they already have experience using AI. Claude, Codex, Higgsfield, ChatGPT, you name it, they used it, and they're experts in it. Our promise right now is that you'll have the highest quality of hire that you need in order to increase your profits and multiply your output. And even better, it comes with a replacement guarantee. And if you're not sure about doing this, these are the type of clients that actually have had a lot of success. People like Go High Level hired their first Colombian with us. His name is David. People like Drip Jobs that hired over 15 people from us and referred all their painters. People like Eddie Malouf, Ryan Pineda, people like
Nick Perry,
Eric Fosnot,
Iconic Becker, Austin Hauser, and all these businesses that are doing either multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, that are winning right now. So if you want to win, if you want to be part of the AI hiring gold rush, don't wait on this. Grab your passport, travel to Latin America with us. And if you like this video and you think this video was very valuable for you, subscribe to this YouTube channel, send this to a friend, and watch the other YouTube videos for you to learn how to source the right person, amplify the right person, and scale your business. See you in the next video.